All right, today we have the Razer Basilisk Ultimate. I hate that name, but I think the mouse might be pretty good. Now this one actually comes with the dock as well, so it's pretty nice. Razer packaging. Has a little arrow here to pull, and it doesn't pull very well. You're really just untaping it essentially. Well, on newer devices, you can just peel them real easy. All right, but we're not gonna hold it against it. There we go, it's a pretty nice little setup there. So I did not like a wired mouse. This is wireless, and it's pretty neat. It's its own little charging stand, and both should be Chroma. As is standard, you have yourself a little packet of documents from Razer. I'm always amazed at what high quality cardstock they use for these things. I mean, this is a lot of money they could save by not doing this, but I guess that's part of it, right? The color will indicate if the battery is low. If it's under 5%, it'll be red. 26 to 50%, it'll be orange. Yellow at 51 to 75%, and then 76 to 99% breathing green, and then at 100%, it goes static. Now you can have up to 4 different profiles there. Very nice, of course, Razer stickers, as is tradition. I guess that's micro USB. It's just a weird implementation of it. I do like it says top up there. That's pretty nice. That goes deep in there. So this is the mouse charging bracket. Oh, there's a little piece in here too. A little metal paddle, that's sticky. Yeah, so that's not going nowhere. That's pretty legit. Razer always has nice cable, nice braided, and nice. I'm always impressed with what kind of measure they go to here, just like the packet. You know, sometimes Razer stuff breaks. Sometimes it's kind of junky, but sometimes, I don't know, some things they do really well. So these are spring loaded, of course. You'll plug this into something. What if I do it with a battery pack? If it'll work. On the mouse itself, this little button here should change your profiles. This on off, of course. In here is the little dongle holder, green, of course, as is tradition. This is something very nice. It even tells you that it is the ball sack unit there. So I do like that, because if you have a lot of dongles, which is how a lot of things work. My friend Tony has a lot of. He's all about dongles. This little rubber piece comes off. And then you have this little extra little trigger action, I guess, and that just sticks in there. There it goes. Now we have an extra little button. That is pretty nice. So essentially 3 buttons here. Up top, you have obviously 2 buttons, scroll wheel, which will go side to side and depress, and then 2 buttons here. I do like it when a wheel is detinted. Obviously this is meant for gaming, but if you're just wondering how it compares to another mouse, this is the Logitech MX Master 3. So the Master 3 is a lot bigger, but obviously they have different purposes. We'll get it hooked up to the PC, of course, but for now, let's just see if it charges with the battery pack. So you can see the scroll wheels lighting up. The base stand, that would light up, but it doesn't look like it. I'm sure it does with the computer, it's just not enough probably charge with this guy. It does appear like it's lighting up under here as well. I hope I don't need to steal this from my son. I like them flashy colors all of a sudden. All right, so we'll get this set up. We'll hook it up to the computer and then record the screen, of course, so you can get an idea of the setup process. Now, we have time traveled. Originally, this was ordered back in December 2021. Unboxing from them is now September 2023. So we've had this a full 2 years. No real problems with it. My son, he has used it for gaming, but he does primarily game using a controller. He games with this controller, the Wolverine V2 Chroma, but he has used it every day. He's been a college, I think he was in high school when I bought it, but he's now a college student, and he's learning programming, so he's using it a lot, and he tends to break stuff because he's very rough on devices. So this one's held up just fine. I've liked this mouse so much when he got it. I thought it was so cool looking that I actually went out and I bought myself the Basilisk B3 Pro. I actually liked how it laid up around the bottom. I do like that little dock, but sometimes the dock can be a bit finicky on the bottom, right? So I had the B3, which was wired, same physical shape mouse, but wired. And I ended up getting the Pro, which has the wireless puck, as opposed to that little dock like that. There's pros and cons to both, right? So this one, of course, has the little USB inside there, which is nice. So you have a nice close distance between your mouse and your USB. And I don't love trying to link up those little holes to here. Like maybe if I had it every day, I'd be better at it. But for me, sometimes I don't hit that spot on. I gotta do it a couple times. But just for, let me zoom in. In general, I think it's pretty good. And of course, you do have a lot of settings you can adjust on Synapse here. So the dock itself, you don't really have too much to do. It just tells you the different colors that will change to with the battery of the mouse. You do have the nice option to switch it off when the monitor goes off, which is nice. You do have the effects of the ring on the device itself. And that's about all the actual effects you have. Now the mouse has a lot of features you can do. You can change all these various buttons. You can change the performance ratio. So you can change, of course, the sensitivity, the polling rate. Then you just jump to mouse properties right in Windows. There's also this calibration setting. So if you want to adjust the match with the mouse mat you have, you can do smart tracking or manual calibration. And then the power, you can change it to power settings to let your battery last longer, I guess depending on how much you use it and how much you're gaming. I mean, he's a teenager, he's still 19, and I would say he spends a lot of time at his computer. Certainly he was doing schooling through the pandemic, so he was a lot of remote learning as well. So as far as I know, there's no real complaints about battery life on it. And then of course you can change all these settings. I don't know that he has, this is my Synapse, not his, just so I could screen record, but you can of course change, the speed of the scroll, the sensitivity. And you do have these little side buttons here, these 3 on the side. So not just these 2 here, but you have this little guy, which is pretty nice little touch. I actually don't use any of those on my mouse. I just use these 2 keys. I don't know if he does. It's just a good shape for a hand. Like I have a very big hand and it fits me fine. He's my son, right? He's 19 years old. He's substantially smaller than me and he has no problems with the grip. So between our large hand and a small hand, it's no problems. My buddy Tony has notoriously small hands. Like it's very odd. Like it's noticeable when you meet him. And he recommended this mouse. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna like it if you like it because you have small hands. But lo and behold, I did.
Take my hand. No, give me your other hand. Oh, my other hand isn't strong enough. You take my little hand. No, get it away from me. Take it.
All right, so let's check out the lights. So you can see here, the mouse is still charging. It is at 91%. So if you look on the dock, it will be green because it's breathing green between its 76 and 99%. That's because I had it on top of each other. And if we go to just the dock itself, we are static. And if you hit this button, it'll make everything connected turn red. So now the mouse is red as well. And then if we change it to battery level, of course, it'll let you know the dock is green because the mouse isn't fully charged, but the mouse is still set to red. That's because the static lights are red, not because the battery is low. If we change it to breathing, we can do 2 colors. It's pretty neat sometimes you do that. Let's turn this to blue. There we go, and we'll hit this button to make both of them do the same thing. I always find that's a nice feature that Synapse has that little wheel that applies it to everything. Maybe other devices do, but I know previously my Alienware products did not have that. I think they updated Alienware Command Center to do that, but in the past it did not. It was annoying, had to change everything. But as far as I've been using Razer products, it's always had that little button to change it. So outside of breathing, we have reactive, so I don't really know how that would work. So the mouse is still breathing. I can only assume, like same thing with the mouse pad. I had that same question. It's like, I don't know what reactive does. As far as right now, it's hard to say. All right, and then after reactive, we have spectrum cycling, which of course is cool. So here with the lights out, it looks very bright on camera. In person, it doesn't look that bright. It looks perfectly normal. Now it is slightly brighter on the dock than the mouse, but that could be the settings here. Yeah, see, you may have had that turned down, so you can crank that up and it'd be brighter, of course. So back to the dock, so after we have spectrum cycling, then we have static. Of course, I had it red before. Let's just make it a yellow. Then hit that button and it goes to the mouse, right? And if we go to the mouse, you can do the same thing, right? We hit lighting. You can change it to breathing, and we'll change this to purple and this to blue, and we'll hit that apply button. So you can do the same thing where it applies to the mouse. And then they have more features for the switch off lighting on this mouse, right? So you have when the display is turned off, the lighting goes off, or when it's idle, the lights can go off to save battery, of course. And of course, the wave feature, right? That's interesting. The dock doesn't have a wave, does it? Yeah, there's no wave on the dock, but there is a wave on the mouse. That's pretty neat. And the wave looks really cool on the mouse with the way that goes on that top bar here. So let me cover up this. So that right there is pretty cool where it lights up right above the mouse buttons. I like that, it's cool looking. And then of course you can change it a little bit. Let's see what we have here, wave, static. So yeah, that's all the features you have. Now, of course, you have these various features here, but as far as color-wise, as far as you get. Now, even though that dock doesn't have all the color profiles, nor does the mouse have all the color profiles, quick effects that you would normally have on Razer products, or some Razer products don't have. If you go to Razer Studio, you can kind of create a group and then make them do all the colors you want. That's another thing that's gonna point out. Another key point of the Razer ecosystem is that if you get multiple Razer devices, you can sync the lights up all together, nice and neat. And it's a pretty cool effect. And it looks really good when you have a lot of things set up. Another key note, there's like, it's not sticky, but there's like a rubber here that's sort of sticky. So you can't really push it. I mean, I'm strong, so I can move it, but it's just sitting there, it's not gonna go. It's gonna sit pretty still. So that's pretty good, I like it. And of course, if you put it back on here, you can see I struggle with it every time. And now that we're chart is docked, it's just showing you the battery percentage, so it's flashing green because that's the charging motion. Once it gets to fully to 100, it'll be solid green. Like I said, this mouse was so likable, it got me off of not gaming mouse, so neither one of us use mouse for gaming really, just for work. I'm a businessman, I use my computer all day long. I was big into the Logitech MX series, and then I had the Logitech vertical mouse, and I loved that thing, and I gave it up for this one because I wanted all my lights to sync up, and I just kind of like the mouse. It's pretty good. All right, let's show you what it looks like with everything all tied together. It's pretty fresh. You see everything's there together, but the mouse and the dock are both green, even though I have everything set to wave. And now if I take it off, it should go to wave on the mouse, but the dock doesn't have the capability of wave, at least in this setting. If we go to the breathing spectrum strikingly, it doesn't actually do a wave. You can see the mouse is. And yeah, I really like that line that goes across the top on the mouse. You can't change the individual colors of the mouse. So the boy says if you go to the studio, you can change the individual components of your mouse. All right, so here's all of his devices. Yeah, so there you can see the little pieces of the mouse that you can light up separately, I think. I'm not an expert in Synapse here. All right, so on the mouse, of course, you can change these things. What do you change on yours to make it so fast? I hate the DPI setting.
Yeah, the DPI.
So yeah, he changes this here. I hate that, but he likes it. But his brain's also like a squirrel, so I got a lot of thoughts in my brain. I can't be moving that fast. It's not healthy.
Well, this is the first mouse I ever had that wasn't just a cheap default mouse that comes packaged with a bunch of other stuff. So it's the first mouse I've had where you could change the DPI, you could change the binds on it, has extra buttons, and it's actually an appropriate size for a human hand. Whenever I use other mice after this, my hands always cramp up because they're way smaller.
Yeah, and his hands are a lot smaller than mine, but he does, what do you call it, the claw grip?
My middle finger goes on the mouse wheel, index finger goes on left click, and then my ring finger goes on the right click, and then my pinky hangs off.
And I use a 3-finger grip, as you should on a mouse. He does a weird like whole hand thing, but yeah, this is actual size. My hand's as big as a monitor, so it's really hard for me to use the computer.
And then I guess you call it the lip for your thumb, the thumb rest area.
Yeah, all that is nice. Yeah, the little wing thing.
I never had that before, and when I first got it, I thought I wouldn't like it, but you get used to it, and I do like it. Sometimes I even wish my little pinky finger had an area on the other side.
Yeah, so the Logitech MX has that little wing thing too, which I got used to, and then the Alienware had a wing on both sides. But I would say the wing on the Logitech is probably bigger and better than the one on the Razer, but the Razer one's still pretty nice. So he uses that Wolverine controller, which is a higher level of skill required to use a controller than the mouse and keyboard.
But for the short period of time where I was using mouse and keyboard to play games, I did enjoy using the side buttons. I believe there's 2 side buttons and then there's like a weird little clicker thing.
Yeah, I showed that earlier in the video, the little wing side piece there.
But if that metal piece gets in the way, you can just take it off, which is nice for people that don't use it. And then, the scroll wheel is pretty nice too.
Yeah, you can change it from the detent or the spin, right?
Well, not just that though. It's got 3 different directions, so you can push it to the left, push it down, or push it to the right.
Oh, yeah.
And you combine that all to in a game or regular day use, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, because I'm just sitting there not using the mouse. It's going to sleep.
As long as you put the mouse on the charger every time you leave your desk, it'll never die. Unless you just never leave your desk and sit there forever, then it'll eventually die. But it's not good for you.
I mean, he spends a lot of time on his computer. His mouse never dies. Now, he's not using it for gaming, so I'm assuming it burns more battery while you're gaming, but he spends plenty of time watching YouTube videos that are dumb. And it's not Mash.IT. I know I said dumb YouTube videos, and you think I mean Mash.IT, but no, he watches other dumb videos. I don't let him subscribe to Mash.IT, of course. You shouldn't either. Don't subscribe to Mash.IT, subscribe to 5 to 12.
And then for the charging stand, you have to be pretty accurate when you place it. At the time that we got this, I don't think they offered the flat wireless charger. But nowadays they do, and you should probably get that over this. But it's still pretty nice. I don't dislike it.
We haven't tried the dock, the new one, so I don't know if it does the same color things. It is nice this one does the colors. All right, so here we are with the full setup. Now, in case you think this sounds familiar, I'm using this portion of the video on multiple different Razer product clips. I might tweak it from here to there on each one. But it's also a good idea to subscribe if you're watching this one. You know why? Because all these products I've had for a very long time. A lot of these things I've made videos. That HyperX, so on the far right corner there's a HyperX. I made a video on that very long time ago. Of course, in this video series, we have the Razer Raptor monitor, the Nommo Chroma speakers, the Basilisk Ultimate mouse, and the wireless charging dock for the mouse, the Firefly V2 mouse pad, and the Huntsman Elite controller. Over here that doesn't play nice with the colors is the Razer Wolverine V2 Chroma, and Pokémon Special Edition OLED switch dock. And of course our little bobblehead Snicky Snack. And down below, the desk itself is a Husky desk, which I made a video on a very long time ago. Well, here is the UPS that I made a video on. Here, I don't know if it's gonna show on camera, but this is all being powered off of my Dell XPS A950 that I made videos on previously. So the point of that is, I'm not one of these YouTube guys that just buys products to make videos on and gets rid of them. These are things I actually use and I've had for a very long time. A lot of this stuff is 2 years old or approaching the 2-year mark. So we're talking about in-depth use cases. You know, I'm not one of these guys that has a brand new laptop every week.
Hi, this is David at Mash IT.
So here you can see all the products together. This is what I was mentioning before. It's very nice to see them all together and it looks pretty cool. Like I said, the mouse dock doesn't play nice color-wise and neither does the controller, but everything else is doing the wave, which is pretty cool. Let me show you that you can do a little bit of everything. So let's go lighting and then we'll choose breathing. We'll do our colors again. Blue and red and apply it to everything. Now everything should be blue and red, including the dock over there is breathing, right? So some of them, all of them can do, and some of them, all of them can't. And then fire, this is what the boy usually uses for his setup. Razer has that button, which a lot of people don't have. See, here's where it gets a little bit wonky, where some things don't have fire. Only the keyboard and the monitor are doing fire right now. Spectrum cycling, everyone should have that, so they should all link up nice and easy here. And then Starlight, I think they all have that as well, maybe? Or no, not all of them. For static, everyone should have static. I should be able to go all green for everyone, no problem. And then the wave, of course, we were already doing, but you can see here. So what I'm gonna do now is turn the lights off so you get a better idea and show you some cool features and hopefully no one gets scared. All right, so there you can see how cool everything looks. So let's go to Razer Studio, and here's where I said you can make an edit. So you click on everything, and now you can change this to fire. Now everything is fire. If I hit save, everything should be fire. See, now previously all of them didn't have fire, but now they're all doing fire, which is pretty cool.
I like that.
If I hit here and check everything and I change this to breathing, and then again, I change the color, I'll do red, and we'll change the second color to green. I'll save it. Now everything will be red, green. So you can see how cool this looks. Even the dock, like I said, the dock was limited on its features, but it works. Same thing here, right? Make sure every time you hit everything, and then we change this to reactive, and then we save it. So now it's reactive, so the reactive's not very cool for everything. So don't use reactive for everything unless you want really basic stuff. Ripple's what I was thinking of. Yeah, ripple is gonna be cool. That single light there on the keyboard currently is the numbers lock. So there you go. So now that is cool, right? So it goes through everything. It's not quite lined up because we haven't organized everything. But if you notice on here, you can move these things around. If you rearranged everything in Synapse, you can make it pretty cool. You see how it's going through on Synapse there. All right, and that's the ripple effect. And then of course we go spectrum cycling. So you can do that without the studio version, but it is nice to have everything lined up correctly, including the mouse. Starlight, I think is really cool. So that's showing a bunch of different colors. You can edit that, of course, like I showed you previously, to change the different color variants, but this predefined one is very cool. I like it. It's a nice relaxing way to have your system set up. Like if you're not really too involved, you can have this just playing in the background. It's nice in a dark room. It's kind of cool looking. Static is nothing, you know, obviously we know how everything can do static. You can change the color, but again, static is pretty boring. Wave. So this is another one where if you rearrange these things on the desk, like for example, here's the monitor. There you go. I can move monitor here, the keyboard here, speaker here, speaker here, mouse here. Now the wave is a little more aligned. I don't know if you can tell that, but it is nice how that works. And then let's do the wheel effect. Wheel, and save that. So you can sort of tell the wheel's not as impactful. I prefer wave over wheel. But here's where I think ripple is gonna be cool. And if I hit this button, that's pretty good, right? Yes, I like that. Like I said, the boy uses fire the most. And of course, like I said, if you use the music, you can get the audio responses, but I don't want to set it up right now. It's nighttime, people sleeping. So yeah, fire is pretty cool with all these set up as well. Let's get the lights back on. All right, so there it is, the setup for all these devices together. We do like each of these individual devices, but with Razer, it's pretty nice when you can get everything all together on one.